Oleander. Most people do not think about what is growing in their garden. Oleander is one of the most commonly planted ornamental trees in the world. It lines highways, fills public parks, grows in school gardens, and sits outside hospitals. In warm climates across Europe, the Middle East, North America, and Asia, it is treated as ordinary landscaping. Its flowers come in pink, white, red, and yellow. It is easy to grow, tolerant of heat and drought, and it asks very little from the person who planted it. Almost every part of it can kill. Oleander contains cardiac glycosides, specifically oleandrin and nerine. These compounds interfere with the electrical signals that control the heartbeat. The heart loses its normal rhythm. It begins to beat irregularly. In serious cases, it stops. The danger does not disappear when the plant is cut, dried, or dead. Leaves that have fallen and dried on the ground remain toxic. Smoke from burning the branches has sent people to hospital. Animals that chewed on clippings left by gardeners have died. There are documented cases of children being poisoned after using oleander branches as skewers for food over a fire. Honey produced by bees that fed heavily on oleander flowers has caused illness in people who ate it without knowing the source. It is not in a jungle. It is not behind a warning sign. It is growing in ordinary gardens right now, and the people who planted it almost certainly do not know what it is capable of. Cherry laurel. This tree is so common in European and North American gardens that most people have walked past it hundreds of times without giving it a second thought. Cherry laurel is widely used as a hedge plant. It grows quickly, stays dense, and blocks noise and wind. Garden centers sell it by the thousands. It is planted along property lines, around driveways, and beside fences across temperate climates worldwide. Its leaves contain cyanogenic glycosides. When the leaves are crushed, chewed, or damaged, those compounds break down and release hydrogen cyanide. Hydrogen cyanide stops cells from using oxygen. It does not matter how much oxygen is in the blood. The cells cannot process it. The body begins to suffocate from the inside, while the lungs continue to breathe normally. Children have been poisoned by chewing the leaves. Animals that eat significant quantities of the hedge trimmings have died. The berries look similar to cherries and can attract children who do not know the difference. Crushing or cutting large amounts of the foliage in an enclosed space releases enough cyanide vapor to cause headaches and dizziness. Professional hedge cutters are occasionally affected without understanding why. The tree is legal to plant, widely available, and almost never labeled with any warning at the point of sale. Yew trees have been growing in European churchyards, estate gardens, and formal hedges for centuries. Some of the oldest living specimens in Britain are over 1,000 years old. The tree is associated with permanence, tradition, and careful cultivation. Almost every part of it is toxic. The seeds, bark, and leaves contain taxine alkaloids, compounds that disrupt both the heart and the nervous system simultaneously. The red berry-like structures that surround the seeds are the only part of the tree that is not toxic, but the seed inside each one is. Taxine affects the heart by blocking the calcium and sodium channels that regulate its rhythm. The result is a slowing of the heartbeat that can progress quickly to cardiac arrest. The onset can be fast enough that by the time symptoms are recognized, the situation is already serious. Animals are particularly vulnerable. Horses, cattle, and deer have died after eating yew clippings, thrown over a fence, or left in a pile after hedge trimming. The wilted leaves are considered even more dangerous than fresh ones, because the toxin concentrates as the plant dries. Children have been poisoned by eating the red berries and accidentally swallowing or crushing the seed inside. The berry itself is sweet. The seed is not. Yew is still one of the most popular hedging plants sold in garden centers across the United Kingdom and Europe. It is trimmed, shaped, and maintained in formal gardens without most visitors knowing what it contains. Laburnum. In late spring, Laburnum produces long-hanging clusters of bright yellow flowers. It is genuinely beautiful. That is why it has been planted in gardens across Europe and North America for generations. Every part of the tree contains cytosine, an alkaloid that mimics nicotine in the body, but with far greater toxicity at even small doses. The seeds are the most concentrated source, and they are contained in pods that children sometimes mistake for peas. Cytosine binds to the same receptors as nicotine but triggers a much stronger response. Nausea and vomiting begin quickly. Convulsions can follow. In serious cases, breathing becomes difficult as the muscles that control it are affected. Children are the most common victims because the pods look edible, and the seeds inside resemble something familiar. A small number of seeds is enough to cause significant symptoms in a child. Laburnum poisoning cases appear in hospital records every spring across the United Kingdom and Europe, consistently, year after year. The tree is still legal to plant. It is still sold in garden centers. It is still described in gardening guides primarily by the beauty of its flowers. The pods hang low enough for a child to reach. Daphne. Daphne is a small ornamental shrub that grows at the base of gardens and borders. It rarely reaches more than a meter in height. Its flowers are small, pink or white, and produce a fragrance that makes it a popular choice for gardens where scent matters. It does not look like a threat. Its berries are bright red or yellow, small and clustered along the branches. They look like something a bird might eat, which some do. For humans, a handful of berries is enough to cause serious harm. Daphne contains mesarine and daphnin, compounds that cause severe irritation to any tissue they contact. Eating the berries causes burning in the mouth and throat, swelling, difficulty swallowing, vomiting, and internal bleeding. Contact with the sap can blister the skin. The toxins are absorbed through damaged skin as well as through the digestive system. Children are regularly poisoned by the berries each year because the plant is small, accessible, and produces fruit that looks harmless at a glance. It is sold in garden centers as ground cover. It is planted near paths and entrances where people walk close to it every day. Its fragrance is considered one of its selling points. Wisteria. Wisteria is one of the most photographed plants in the world. Its cascading purple or white flower clusters are used in garden photography, wedding decoration, and architecture. It climbs walls, frames doorways, and turns ordinary structures into something that looks designed for a painting. Its seeds and pods contain wisterin, a glycoside that causes severe gastrointestinal symptoms. 2 seeds are enough to cause vomiting and stomach pain in a child. A larger quantity causes more serious effects, including dehydration and collapse. The pods look like flattened green beans hanging from the vine. They are not difficult to reach. Children eat them because they look like food, which they closely resemble. Wisteria poisoning is one of the more common plant poisoning calls to poison control centers in the United Kingdom and the United States each year. The plant is not considered particularly deadly for adults in small quantities, but in children the threshold is much lower, and the speed of onset is fast enough to be alarming. It grows on the walls of schools, hospitals, and family homes. It is considered one of the most desirable climbing plants in temperate garden design. Most people who grow it have never been told what its seeds do. Rhododendron. Rhododendron fills gardens across the northern hemisphere with large clusters of pink, purple, red, and white flowers every spring. It is planted in parks, estates, and suburban gardens on a scale that makes it one of the most recognizable flowering shrubs in the world. The leaves, flowers, and nectar contain granotoxins. These compounds interfere with sodium channels in nerve and muscle cells, preventing them from returning to their resting state. The result is a sustained disruption of normal nerve signaling that affects the heart, muscles, and nervous system together. Honey produced from rhododendron nectar has caused poisoning outbreaks across history. In ancient accounts, Roman soldiers were reportedly incapacitated after eating honey left by retreating enemies near rhododendron forests. The honey looked and tasted normal. The effects appeared hours later. Granulotoxin poisoning from contaminated honey is still reported today, particularly from regions of Turkey and Nepal where rhododendron grows densely, and honey production is traditional. The condition has a name: mad honey disease. The plant itself is also toxic when leaves or flowers are eaten directly. Animals have died after grazing on rhododendron in gardens and woodland edges. Children have been made seriously ill after chewing the flowers. It grows in almost every temperate garden in the world. It is considered one of the defining plants of the English country garden. Nobody warns you about it at the gate. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, you already know what to do.